Good evening. We begin tonight with a story that has captured international attention, blending political legacy, wealth, and alleged violence. The son of the late Zimbabwean leader Robert Mugabe is in police custody in Johannesburg, South Africa, after his gardener was shot at his luxury home. This is a Kenya News Update Today deep dive. I'm your host. The incident occurred early this morning, February 20th, 2026, at a high-security estate in the affluent suburb of Sandton. According to initial police reports, a 42-year-old gardener, whose identity has not been released, was shot in the leg following an alleged dispute. The suspect, identified as 38-year-old Robert Mugabe Jr., was detained at the scene. Paramedics from ER-24 responded and transported the victim to a nearby hospital, where he is reported to be in stable condition. The weapon, a registered 9mm pistol, was recovered. This incident immediately raises complex questions about diplomatic immunity, the conduct of political families abroad, and South Africa's legal system. For our first perspective, we turn to legal analyst, Advocate Thandi Nkosi. Advocate Nkosi, what are the immediate legal hurdles here? Thank you. The key question is jurisdiction and status. Robert Mugabe Jr. is not a diplomat. He is a private citizen residing in South Africa. Therefore, he is subject to South African law without any immunity. The charge will likely be attempted murder or assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. The police have 72 hours to formally charge him before he must appear in court for a bail hearing. Given the high profile, the National Prosecuting Authority will be under immense scrutiny to handle this without fear or favor. That's a critical point, no diplomatic shield. Now, let's examine the background. Robert Mugabe Jr. is one of the late president's sons from his marriage to Grace Mugabe. He has largely lived outside Zimbabwe, with residences reported in South Africa and Singapore. He is known more for his lavish lifestyle than any political involvement. This stands in stark contrast to his father's legacy as a liberation icon, who later presided over Zimbabwe's economic collapse. The Mugabe family's wealth, much of it accumulated during Robert Mugabe's 37-year rule, is estimated to be in the hundreds of millions. A 2019 report by a Zimbabwean parliamentary committee suggested the family controlled assets worth over $1.5 billion, though this is difficult to verify. The family owns multiple properties globally. In South Africa alone, they are reported to own at least 3 high-value properties: the Sandton home valued at 85 million rand, a coastal estate in Cape Town worth 120 million rand, and a game farm in Limpopo. This incident brings the Mugabe dynasty back into the spotlight, not for politics, but for alleged violent crime. For a different view, we have social commentator Saifo Dlamini. Saifo, what does this say about the children of liberation leaders? It's a tragic pattern we see across the continent. The sons and daughters of those who fought for freedom often become symbols of excess and impunity. They live in gated communities far from the people their fathers claim to represent. This incident in Sandton, one of Africa's richest squares, is a metaphor. A gardener, a working man, is allegedly shot by the son of a man who built his rhetoric on championing the poor. It highlights a profound disconnect. In Kenya, we've seen similar debates around the families of former presidents. The question is, when does inherited political capital become a license for alleged lawlessness? A powerful perspective on legacy and accountability. Now, let's look at the numbers. The Sandton estate where this happened is part of a security bubble. The estate employs a private security firm with 48 guards on rotation, has biometric access, and a dedicated armed response unit. Yet, the alleged violence came from within. This raises questions about the safety of domestic staff in these environments. According to South Africa's Statistics Department, there were over 12,000 reported cases of assault by employers on domestic workers in the past year. However, conviction rates remain low, at around 18%. In high-profile cases involving wealthy or politically connected individuals, that rate drops to an estimated 7%. The victim in this case is a migrant worker from Malawi, part of a large community that provides essential labor in South Africa. His monthly salary, according to sources close to the investigation, was 5,500 rand, approximately 44,000 shillings. To put that in perspective, the annual property tax on the Sandton house is roughly 1.2 million rand, or about 20 times the gardener's yearly income. The economic disparity here is staggering. For our third angle, we consider the regional political implications. Zimbabwe is currently under the leadership of President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who succeeded Mugabe after a 2017 military-assisted transition. Relations between the Mnangagwa government and the Mugabe family have been frosty. Grace Mugabe has been a vocal critic from exile. How will Harare react? We're joined by political analyst Farai Mutsaka. Farai, does Harare have any stake in this? The Zimbabwean government will be extremely cautious. Officially, they will say it's a private matter for South African courts. Unofficially, there will be relief that it's not a direct political scandal, and some may even see it as further discrediting the Mugabe name. However, they cannot be seen to abandon a citizen entirely. I expect a low-level consular official to be dispatched, but no high-profile intervention. The real interest is in how the South African courts handle it. A lenient outcome could be framed by critics in Zimbabwe as evidence that the African elite protect their own, regardless of nationality. So, a delicate diplomatic dance. Let's visualize some of these disparities. The alleged incident also touches on South Africa's own struggles with gun violence and inequality. South Africa has one of the highest rates of firearm homicide in the world. In the Gauteng province, where Johannesburg is located, an average of 22 people are killed with guns every single day. Private security is a massive industry, worth over 50 billion rand annually, employing over 400,000 active officers. That's more personnel than the South African Police Service and the military combined. This creates a paradox: extreme security for the wealthy coexists with extreme violence in townships. The gardener, as a migrant, represents another vulnerable group. There are an estimated 3.2 million documented and undocumented migrants from other African nations working in South Africa, often in domestic, construction, and agricultural roles. They frequently report abuse and exploitation. Now, we must also consider the human element, the victim. While we protect his identity, we can discuss his profile. He is married with 3 children. He has been working in South Africa for 8 years, sending remittances home monthly. His shooting not only causes physical harm, but threatens the livelihood of an entire family dependent on his income. Community organizations supporting migrant workers have already pledged legal assistance. His medical bills, which could run into tens of thousands of rand, are currently being covered by the state, but long-term care is uncertain. Contrast this with the suspect. Robert Mugabe Jr.'s social media, now deleted, showed a life of luxury cars, designer clothes, and international travel. In one post from December 2025, he was photographed on a yacht in Monaco. The value of that single vacation could have paid the gardener's salary for over 30 years. This case, therefore, becomes a lightning rod for discussions about wealth, power, and justice in modern Africa. What happens next? The police investigation is ongoing. Forensics will examine the scene and the weapon. Witness statements, likely from other staff at the home, will be crucial. The suspect's legal team, which he is expected to hire, will likely argue self-defense or a tragic accident. Given the resources at his disposal, he will have top-tier representation. The court's decision on bail will be the first major test. Will the magistrate consider him a flight risk? He holds multiple passports and has the means to leave the country instantly. The state may argue for bail to be denied or set at an exceptionally high amount, perhaps 1 million rand or more. Now, let's broaden the view to Kenya. Why does this matter to us? Firstly, it involves a prominent African political family. Secondly, it touches on themes Kenyans understand well: the conduct of powerful families, wealth disparity, and the quest for accountability. Under President William Ruto's administration, there has been a stated focus on economic justice and supporting the hustler. This story resonates with that narrative. Furthermore, Kenya has its own complex relationship with Zimbabwe and South Africa as key African partners. Finally, it's a reminder that the actions of individuals can impact national perceptions. As we conclude this deep dive, we are left with more questions than answers. Will this case follow the pattern of low conviction rates for the powerful, or will it become a rare example of equal application of the law? Will the Mugabe family's political legacy be further tarnished? And most importantly, will the gardener receive true justice and the support he needs to recover? The coming days will be critical. The first court appearance is expected within 48 hours. We will continue to follow this story and bring you updates. For now, it serves as a sobering reminder of the worlds that exist within our world, separated by gates, guns, and vast fortunes, yet connected by a single, shocking act of violence. This has been a Kenya News Update Today Deep Dive. Subscribe to Kenya News Update Today for more in-depth coverage of the stories that shape our continent.